This episode of the Demonic Compendium contains spoilers for the following games. Viewer discretion is advised.
Welcome to a dehydrated new episode of the Demonic Compendium, the show where I discuss the mythology, design, and game history of your favorite Megami Tensei demons. As the summer heat continues to beat down upon us, I know I find myself wanting a cool glass of water. So grab a drink for yourself and watch out for that rain, because today, we're talking about Vritra. If you enjoy what I do here, please consider commenting, subscribing, checking out the Patreon. Let's get started! Vritra is a distinct figure in Hindu mythology whose name roughly translates as enveloper, obstacle, or cover, and is unique because not only is he a Danava, one of the several races of Asura, but he's also like a dragon, and is usually seen as the personification of drought. Vritra was believed to be so large and massive that his coiled-up body obstructed rivers and touched the sky, preventing rain from falling down. There are several different stories involving this colossal dragon, many of which involve a feud or battle with the storm god Indra. Naturally, since Vritra causes droughts, Indra defeating the Asura would bring about the rainy season. In many tales, Vritra revives every year, so the two can once again do battle to explain the seasonal weather patterns. In some tales, Vritra appears more human-like and uses a series of 99 fortresses to block off the rivers to cause the droughts, but still falls at the hands of Indra. In one tale, Indra failed to defeat Vritra, and Vishnu consulted the rishis, or sages, to create a deal. Indra was not allowed to attack Vritra with any weapon made of wood, stone, or metal. He could not attack with anything dry or wet, and he was not allowed to attack Vritra during the day or night. Well, that sounds perfectly fair for all sides, right? So, naturally, Indra killed Vritra using ocean foam at twilight, and I've gotta respect that level of loophole finding. But of course, we all know he'll be back again next year to do it all over again. Vritra's Compendium entry from Shin Megami Tensei 5, Vengeance, refers to him as a ferocious giant dragon of Hindu mythology. Its name means obstacle, and it's said to block the rivers in the sky, bringing drought. When Indra, god of thunder, defeats him, the Earth's rains will return. However, Vritra will rise again the following year. The battle between the two is said to continue for eternity. Design-wise, this is actually a pretty interesting one, because there are some very distinct things to talk about here. His earliest SMT design was a red Eastern-style dragon. While this isn't a bad design, it's also a bit basic for the figure and doesn't do much to capture what he's about. It wasn't until we got the Shin Megami Tensei 2 design where Kaneko gave us the blend of Asura and Dragon design that most of us are more familiar with. And it wasn't until Devil Summoner Soul Hackers when Kaneko went, wait, what if the hair was the skin, the pants was the hair, and the skin was the pants? Brilliant! Vritra also has a very interesting Devil Children design that portrays him as an imposing, towering, flaming fortress, which is most likely in reference to the 99 fortresses from other versions of his fable. And he does have one other major design, but I think I'll save talking about that for the next section. Which means, as far as game history goes, while Vritra may not seem like a demon that shows up all that often, he actually has a surprisingly diverse and interesting range of appearances and roles in the franchise. Starting all the way back in Megami Tensei 2 and its SNES remake, where the protagonist will need to find and fight Vritra in a dark temple in order to obtain the Venus Pillar. Vritra supposedly has a small role in Shin Megami Tensei 1, where the party is ambushed by a demon tamer in Destiny Land. Both the Megami Tensei wiki and walkthrough that I checked said this summoner will give you Vritra after you defeat them, but as you can see from my footage, they just gave me some magnetite, so maybe my demon stock was full or something? I'm honestly not sure. Let me know in the comments why this didn't work. In Shin Megami Tensei Strange Journey Redux, the player must deliver a Vritra to Loki for the EX mission Finding Loki's Ally 1, because Loki has a super epic idea for pranking Thor, and trust me bro, it's gonna be hilarious. Vritra has a distinct role in the event Undying Dragon of Droughts in the mobile game Shin Megami Tensei Liberation D2. The Liberators are dealing with an insufferable heatwave and investigate the cause of it, and surprise surprise, Vritra is the one causing the droughts. This is actually a pretty good story that nicely ties into the being's mythology, with the gang even teaming up with Apsaras, a water nymph, in order to defeat him. Vritra is an imposing figure capable of absorbing water from his surroundings into his own body, including sucking the very water from the body of his opponents. In Devil Children Red and Black Book, there's a specific quest where the protagonists take part in a tournament to decide who will become the ruler of Marble Land. Vritra is the ruler of one of the 3 tribes, and players can choose to place him in charge of the realm after winning the tournament. Perhaps Vritra's most iconic role of all time is in Digital Devil Saga 2. Players may notice that a former party member, Heat, spends most of the sequel not being a party member. Heat winds up transforming from his usual Atma avatar, Agni, into a gigantic dragon form of Vritra, with 2 enormous tentacles that are basically his Agni form. This is the design I said I'd talk about later, and that's now, because this is such a cool design. It's both incredibly specific to Heat, while still feeling genuinely true to the gigantic half-man, half-dragon obstacle of Hindu lore. This is easily one of the most memorable boss battles in the entire game. Though it's kinda funny how Vritra's whole myth is that he's slain by Indra, and he's even weak against electricity in reference to this, but Indra is the Atma form of Roland, and he ain't in your party for this fight. In Devil Summoner 2, Raido Kuzunoha vs. King Abaddon, Raido must encounter and fight Vritra as part of the 4th trial in the Ritual of Unsealing in Chapter 5. Given Vritra's role as an obstacle, he's actually one of the more straightforward fights and doesn't have any riddles or puzzles before you can fight him. This is also one of the few games that uses a 3D model of Vritra's Red Dragon form, most likely because it was way easier to just palette swap some of the other existing dragons in the title. Vritra has a small story role in Soul Hackers 2, where he not only appears in the game's opening cinematic as part of the epic Devil Summoner fight that led to Arrow's death, and oh yeah, and Thunderbird from a few episodes back was there too. I forgot to mention that. Oops. Vritra also appears later in the story when Ringo needs to dive into the special sector of Arrow's Soul Matrix and fight Vritra as a boss battle in order to unlock Arrow's memories that Mangetsu Kuzunoha sealed away. Despite being one of the newly added demons in Shin Megami Tensei 5 Vengeance who wasn't in the original version, as far as I can tell, he doesn't seem to have any significant roles in that title. Go figure. And so there you have it, Vritra, the dangerous draconic drought-delivering Danava, deftly defeated by Indra. Did I leave out something you thought was important? Was I just plain wrong about something? Let me know in the comments below, and don't forget to let me know who you'd like to see me talk about in future episodes. That's going to do it for this episode of the Demonic Compendium, and I will see you next time. But be careful while you rest that a demon doesn't take over your body.